Hello and welcome to the Wado Radio Top Christian Hip Hop Albums of 2014 Part 2. For those of you that missed Part 1, if you're watching this live, keep watching. But if you're watching the recap, we will have a link to Part 1 in the description so you can catch up to everything that we did last night and spoke about last night. But look, I got the second half of our team here with us tonight. Our chief album reviewer, Aubrey McKay, he just joined. He's coming in from Orlando, Florida, where it's super warm down there, and I wish I was in that weather right now, man. Aubrey, what up, bro?
What's going on? It's a little chilly.
Come on, son. We got snow on us down here, man.
Florida chilly or real chilly?
Right. It's a little chilly.
A little chilly for
70,
Florida.
75 is a little chilly for you, right?
I had a hoodie on today.
Oh, honey.
Right.
That's a lot for me. That's a lot for me. That's a lot for me.
You probably had a hoodie and shorts.
Right.
I had to go to work, so I had pants on, but
Oh,
I
okay.
wouldn't have had shorts if I had to go to work.
Oh, man.
See?
That's how we
We
do it.
also
down
got Wado Radio producer Daniel Cody, a.k.a. D Royal. He's up here in Jersey, so he cold too.
I'm cold too, and they're talking like hypothermia temperatures tomorrow.
Yeah,
so
bro.
I don't know what you're talking about with a hoodie.
I'm bringing out Big Bertha tomorrow. I got this coat I call Big Bertha. I only bring it out when it's certain degrees.
See, that's why I live in Florida.
Big Bertha's coming
That's
out
too much.
tomorrow. Yeah, man. We also have our brand manager, Jody Walton, a.k.a. J Beats.
What up, though?
Ain't nothing, brother. Ain't nothing. And, of course, the lady that helped organize all of this, our blog editor, Michaela, a.k.a. Lady Mac. She's in the building.
The Mac itself, herself.
How y'all doing?
Return of the Mac.
Return of the Mac, right? All right, so look, what this discussion is a continuation of our conversation last night where we kind of recap and highlight some of the top Christian rap albums of 2014. And so last night, we had several categories that we kind of hit on. Best New Artist, Best Surprise Album. I'm missing two here. Michaela, you got to help me out here.
Slept on album.
Slept on album. And what was the other one?
Just 4 categories. It was 4 categories last night.
Best
So
album by
best
a
slept on
newcomer.
album, best album by a new artist, best comeback album, and best surprise album.
Comeback album was the one I was missing, right?
Yeah.
You want to recap those winners real quick for us too, Matt?
Yeah, definitely. Best slept on album, the winner that we chose was Scribbling Idiots Invitation Only. Best album from a new artist, the winner we chose Jackie Hill Perry, The Art of Joy. Best comeback album, the winner was Tripoli with Rise, and best surprise album, the winner was Jackie Hill Perry with The Art of Joy.
Right. So tonight we got some big categories. We got best album artwork, best lyrical album, best production of an album, best conceptual album, and then of course album of the year. And so what we did in each category is basically our entire team voted in each category. We were allowed, I think, 2 albums in each category, and then we tallied up whichever ones had the most votes. And any place that we had a tie, we kind of discussed those internally to kind of come up with a winner there. And so that's kind of how it flows. So let's start with best album artwork. And, this was, I think, a really competitive area just because we have some amazing graphic designers that are in our scene or do work, for our scene. And so we had a lot of really, really dope albums. So the nominees were Kristen Gray, School of Roses, Trip Lee Rise, Swoop Cinema, Canton Jones, God City, USA, Heesun Lee Stereotypes, Belief Melanin, Red Pills and Black Sugar, Alert 312, don't sleep on this one, Singular Vision, Fizzle's Fallen King, and then Propaganda's Crimson Cord. So, best album artwork, again, was just as it very general. It's like this was just the one that was the best, visually pleasing. And the winner in this category was Trip Lee's Rise. And Jody, as a brand manager, graphic designer, man, why did you think Trip Lee's album was so good, bro? Just from a album art perspective.
Well, I mean, if you take a look at, well, actually, I gotta big up everybody. I mean, I definitely agree with you, Wade. Like, I really feel like a lot of these artists are starting to come into their own as being actual artists. Because I think for a very long time, Christian hip hop was really consumed with being the alternative to a lot of stuff that was in mainstream, and now people are finally walking in their lanes, realizing their calling, realizing their talent, realizing what God has given them, and just putting out good stuff. And the whole packaging for Trip Lee Rise was just, it was literally art. If anybody knows what the cover looks like, there's no name on it, there's no album title, it's just a picture of Trip. With well, to make it plain, it's like a picture of Trip with branches. But the technical name for it is actually double exposure photography.
Okay.
And basically, what you're doing is you're merging some sort of silhouette, usually of a person, and some sort of landscape or a nature, and it just makes a cool effect. I almost want to feel like, because I mean, it always looks dope, and I almost want to feel like it's kind of like cheating. But as far as like putting out something hot as far as the cover art, but also the stuff that accompanied it was tremendous as well. I had to do a little research on who did what, and Trip actually had his hand in on the art design itself and the art direction. Yes, he did.
Wow.
He worked with a company called Invisible Creature.
Okay. They do a lot of Reach stuff though.
They pretty much do everything for Reach. They did Lecrae's joint. They actually did Propaganda's joint as well. So
they did Crimson Cord.
Yeah, they did Crimson Cord, which also uses kind of the effect of the double exposure photography. And I think they also did Lecrae's stuff, which is actually up for a Stellar. Now, granted, it's up for a Stellar. But I really feel like with Trip stuff, like I said, it was like literal art. He had a very, because I mean, you could literally take that cover, put it in a frame, and it's like, oh wow, I could talk about this piece. You know what I'm saying? I think also what was great, once again, I said all the surrounding elements. They had good imagery. They had good branding overall. Like everything was real seamless. They went for a real woodsy kind of theme, so they had a lot of browns and earth tones, and once again, even in the videos, which was majority like nature themes. Well, not even majority, all of them were nature themes. So and also got to big up the photographer and the actual designer. The photographer was a gentleman by the name of Sam Hurd. He actually has done stuff like celebrities. I looked him up. He's done stuff with like A-list people. We're talking about like George Clooney's and Denzel Washington's and stuff like that. And then the actual designer from Invisible Creatures, a gentleman named Ryan Clark. I don't know exactly what he put his specific hand on, but that is the person who actually did the actual design work. And I will say, obviously, for stuff like this, Reach does have the unfair advantage of having a great budget to be able to work with, because I don't know if anybody knows, like with Andy Minio's Neverland, they had like 10 different cover concepts for an EP, and they actually got to sit down and choose, whereas your mom and pop artists, they might get 2.
Right.
If they can afford it.
Right.
And then go with it. So, but we definitely got to tip my hat off to, and actually in this instance, we can actually tip our hat off to Trip, because he actually did have a hand in making this artwork together. Because a lot of artists get props for it. They're like, "Oh man, your album was great," and they be like, "Thank you," like they actually made it.
Yeah,
but in this instance, Trip actually had a hand in the art direction. So big ups to Trip Lee and the whole Reach Records fam for their artwork for Rise.
Hey, real quick, I want to go around the room because you gave us like a really technical breakdown of that. But I just want to hear kind of from everybody, just your opinion in terms of what makes a good, artwork, album cover, whatever. Like, what kind of stuff are you looking for? Aubrey, let me start with you, bro.
For me, it's something that's it's obviously eye catching. Something that's gonna make me want to look at it or pick it up if I'm in the store on a CD. But to me, I look at the album artwork as an extension of the project. So I want the artwork or the cover to mesh with the concept of the album.
Okay.
That to me is what takes something over the top.
Yeah, that's good. Daniel, what about you, bro?
Kind of
Like you was in deep thought. That boy said.
Yeah, no, because when Aubrey was saying that, I was like, I get that, but also the other side of when it's something that maybe it doesn't have to do with it makes me go, what is this about? Like, that side is clearly there, it draws me and it ties in. But Rise, it made me go, whoa, first of all, this is amazing art, but what in the world is this about? Like, the one side with the branches, but there's about 3 other ones where it's a profile, and it's like a city, and it's like a mountain landscape, and I was just like, man, this is amazing art, but how does it tie in? So that made me go in and go, all right, how are you gonna connect this?
Yeah. Jody, what about you, bro?
Well, I mean, actually, with being a designer, I mean, it really depends on the artist sometimes. I mean, because sometimes their intent is to be promotional about it, and then other times it's like, hey, I actually want to create art, and I definitely have a soft spot for people who actually desire to make art and not be. I'm gonna use a Kanye word, marginalized. You know what I'm saying? Not being marginalized by the status quo of just marketing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not being afraid to overstep some bounds. You know what I'm saying? To actually create art. You know what I'm saying? I think Shaolin made a tremendous point about Christians and art. There's 2 types. There's art for the church, and there's art from the church, and I think for this, if I remember correctly, Tripp was talking about how it's rising, and that's why he has so much greenery. He's talking about growing in what it is that God has planted you in, and being able to walk in it well. You know what I'm saying? So that was if I remember correctly, that was the whole reason behind the artwork and all that stuff. And obviously, I mean, I was with Daniel. I was like, what is happening right now?
What's happening, right?
I was actually confused because they had another piece of art that was getting pushed around, which kind of had was Native American illustration. A lot of I thought that was the album art at first, and I thought that was dope as well.
You got the 52 fake out, brother.
I really did. You know what I'm saying? So, but that theme was actually intertwined in the actual art packaging. But yeah, I mean, it really depends on what their aim is. But my hope is that they're trying to be creative and just make something good, man.
That's good. Michaela, let me get your thoughts. Just album artwork in general. What's good album artwork for you?
Yeah, for me, something that's compelling, that draws you in. I remember talking with someone, then we were talking about the fact that if the artwork is bad, you'll probably just not even check out the album. Because if you can't even spend enough time to make sure your artwork is good, maybe your music isn't good. And that might be a wrong assumption, but if you take your craft seriously, you should be able to do everything well-rounded. And so when I look at artwork, I'm looking at something that's compelling, that draws you in, and something that's different. I'm not really a fan of, I know y'all talked to me about this before, but I'm not really a big fan of seeing your face on cover art. Though Triple E's is a little bit different, but we already know what you look like 3, 4, 5 albums in. Why is your face on the cover? But there are ways, like Tripp did, to make it more compelling. But when you think outside the box of album artwork, that's when I'm drawn in towards it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. Next category, best lyrical album. And
oh boy,
yeah, this was a really tight category, really tight. And here are the nominees: Swoop, Cinema. A lot of lyrics on that album.
Bars.
Bars. Jackie Hill Perry, The Art of Joy. More bars on that album. Propaganda, Crimson Chord.
Bars.
Bars.
Extra bars.
Right. And Belief Melanin, Red Pills, Black Sugar.
Baltimore bars.
Yeah.
Medicinal bars.
And the winner of this category, Best Lyrical Album 2014, Jackie Hill Perry, The Art of Joy. Aubrey, what made this a lyrical masterpiece, man?
I see you quoted me on that.
Yeah.
Right down my review.
Yeah, I read your reviews.
Oh man. There was a lot really to try to unpack this album to call it a lyrical masterpiece. It was something that I was very cautious about using, and Mac even called me on it and wanted to make sure that I was using it not like kind of lightly.
Yeah.
And in review, going back, listen to it over and over again, it's really what it was. It wasn't just like in a lyrical album, what I'm looking for is depth and range. Like, because lyricism isn't just punchlines or just like a clever bar here or there. There's a lot to lyricism. It has a lot to do with punchlines, a lot to do with metaphors, similes, double entendres, all that kind of stuff, storytelling. And she really brought everything. Every way that I think you could be lyrical, she brought it on one album.
Wow.
She had phenomenal wordplay. Just the way she used words, mixed them together, it flowed like seamless. It was deep. It was intellectual. That's another thing I love. If it's challenging, like, is it just something? Is it something I have to listen to over and over again to kind of understand? Because what that does to me is it provides playback value. If I have to keep going back, I keep getting nuggets from it over and over again. And I haven't listened to her album again without not gaining something new since. Every time I listen to it, I'm picking up another little nugget every single time. She had storytelling on Ode to Lauren, which was that song was beautiful.
Yeah.
And like with a storytelling type track, it's one of those things like I feel like the artist's goal is to make you want to be in the story or make you feel like you were there. And I feel like on that she did both.
Wow.
Because it was really nostalgic to anybody that's a Lauryn Hill fan.
Sure.
You match up feelings with her. And also you want to be a part of the story that she's telling. And it's phenomenal from top to bottom, start to finish. She hung in there, like Kenny and you guys were talking about on the last call. She hung in there with some giants on that album. The Solution with Eshawn, oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
She goes bar for bar with one of the best lyricists in the genre, like, and she killed. And it's just time and time again she kept delivering, and in different ways. It was just, honestly, it was just beautiful. It's kind of like a lesson in lyricism. Like, if you want to know how to be lyrical, listen to that album because she gives you step for step in every different way you want to be able to do it.
How do you think her poetry background influenced that?
I think it had a huge influence, and you can kind of see it in other artists that are poets too. It helps with your wordplay and flow. It helps with your delivery. It's a lot more seamless. You put words together and arrange words in a way that makes it flow easy, and for the listener, that's what you want, especially like a deep intellectual type album that has a lot of depth to it. You need it to flow easy because that's what keeps you listening. And I think her poetry background really has a good help in how she flows and arranges her bars and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, when I first got that album, I actually skipped to Ode to Lauren because I was like, I got to hear this song. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a feeling that's where she was going with it, and I was like, I was blown away. I was just like, man, this was worth the price of the album, just this song right here.
With that song, that song, I know it's just a lyrical category, but that song, if you deconstruct it, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It sounds like a Lauren song, like a Fugees record. It's like everything that you would want in a song, almost like a paying homage to somebody. That's how it was. It was reminiscent of that. She told this story that was beautiful. She killed that song.
Yeah, yeah. Daniel, Jody, Mac, anything y'all want to add? I know we've been talking a lot about Jackie's album the last two nights, but you know it keeps winning categories.
I guess that says a lot. The fact that, you know, I remember when we first heard that she signed as Humble Beast, it was like, whoa. And it was like, oh, yeah.
Front row.
Out with it, we were like, It's exactly what we thought. She killed it.
Yeah.
I think for me, well, one, it's not the main fact that females in general are like getting no shine. Because the thing is, it's not like there's a lack of them. You know what I'm saying? It's just that now in hip hop, females are just not getting shine for what reason? I don't know. I don't know if people getting blackballed or whatever. But Jackie, first of all, she already had her underground buzz with what's the name? P4CM. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I don't even know if that was an underground buzz though. That was.
Well, I only say underground because I mean, if you're not on Radio One, and I'm thinking grand scheme.
I got you.
You know, obviously for us, we knew. You know what I'm saying? Stepping on toes left and right. You know what I'm saying? Of course, her testimony comes a huge, you know, notch on her belt as far as her credibility is concerned. But I don't think many people even knew like everybody's talking about, you know, the Legacy Conference performance. I don't think many people even knew she was really performing.
Yeah, she just kind of popped up, bro.
She really did. Pregnant and everything.
I was DJing and I didn't realize she was performing until the day of, because honestly, Beautiful Eulogy was supposed to perform there, and I think they kind of said, "Yo, we want the next generation of Humble Beasts to be showcased in this space." So you got that.
She did it. I mean, her and Eshawn was up there rocking, and actually, I want to say we got some footage of that, so we gotta make sure we get that joint up.
Nice.
See that footage?
Like I felt like I was taken back to like '94, man. Like '94 was like those early '90s was a great time for just hip hop, period. As far as people actually putting socially conscious stuff together, religiously conscious stuff together, and like everybody knew like you couldn't just put together la-di-da songs. Like you had to put bars. Like that was part of the culture, not just make money. Like it was like make bars, you know what I'm saying? And Jackie came up there, and even with the boom bap, people just with her, you know what I'm saying? Pregnant and everything.
You know what was crazy about that performance is she just stood in one spot.
That's what I'm saying.
First song, she was just.
That's what I'm saying. Spazzing, like son, I'm telling you, like I really felt like I was watching like House Party up there, yo, like a scene from House Party, because both of them was rocking like some straight up like 90s like like I really felt like it was like a real moment of nostalgia. Like it was crazy. So like we definitely got to tip our hat off to Jackie. Like they had a real good chemistry, her and Eshawn, when they performed, and obviously her album is just like wow.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, I want to shout out Miss Terry from Pure Radio. She's on the check-in the chat room. So what's up to Miss Terry?
What up, though?
She been supporting this show ever since we got on Pure Radio down there in Jacksonville, and you know,
She's one of the sweetest ladies too.
Oh my goodness, she's like the nicest lady you will ever meet in your life. You can't meet anybody nicer than Miss Terry, man. So shout out to Miss Terry. Mac, I gotta ask you this, because you're always bigging up the women and making sure that they have a voice and that they're being recognized and all of that. How big is it that a female is Lyricist of the Year, or got Best Lyrical Album, I should say?
That's huge.
Did you even give that some thought when we did that, or no?
No, I don't necessarily thought that I gave it any thought, but I think that's huge, just because of a male-dominated genre or industry, and kind of like what Jody alluded earlier, don't necessarily know why women aren't really put at the front. But I think it's huge for Jackie Hill to be highlighted, and just having a project come out, was it November, and just impact the genre so big like this, and we're just excited for what else she has to offer. We already knew she could kill it in terms of spoken word, but to be able to put that to a beat and flow, I think that's what has made it a surprise, and made it the fact that, all right, she's a good lyricist, and just to be up against propaganda and who are dope lyricists as well, and still rock it and kill it. That shows that you can hold your own and you have talent. So it's huge. And there's more people like her. There are more women like her. They just don't get the shine that they deserve. So
Yeah, hopefully that's about to change some though.
yeah, yep,
You know.
yep.
I
So
want to touch on that real quick too, Wade, if you don't mind, because
yeah,
like
go ahead.
that's a big deal that she won that category too. Because I think what Jackie brings to it is a sense of belonging. Like one thing I've always noticed ever since growing up listening to hip hop, female MCs were always brought up or talked about as female MCs. To
Yeah.
me, Jackie is just an MC, and I think what that does is it kind of paves the way for more to come behind her because she belongs in that category.
Yep.
And so it just, instead of her being a female MC, she's an MC amongst the giants, and that makes it easier to accept more that come behind her.
You know what? I don't want to sidetrack this too much, but I was thinking of just what you just said. I feel like the female rappers in the '90s, that's when it really became about them being a female rapper. Like, Foxy Brown, Lil Kim, Charlie Baltimore, The Brat, like that whole crew. But I feel like before that, like Queen Latifah, MC Light, I'm kind of telling my age a little bit.
Yo.
Yeah, Yo. Like you didn't really look at those artists as like, oh, that's a female rapper. Like,
really didn't.
you know what I'm saying? Like you looked at Queen Latifah, like, yo, she's dope and she's actually talking about something. You know what I'm saying? So, we just, I don't know. See, I'm about to sound like an old man saying we need to get back to that, but we need to get back to that though.
That's what's wrong.
That's wrong with your
That's
young
what's
folk.
wrong with these youngins today. We need to get back to that. Oh man.
So everyone's a rapper. People are rappers, and then you have your MC category. So that's what,
Mac dropping knowledge.
Hey, drop that knowledge, Mac.
That was like a $50 nugget right there. Hey,
drop
so
the
look.
mic, walk away.
Hey, for those of y'all just joining us, this is the Wado Radio Album of the Year Award Google Hangout. This is part 2. And so we're just kind of spotlighting and highlighting, really dope albums in a number of different categories. We've already talked about Best Album Artwork of the Year. That was Trip Lee with Rise. And we just did Best Lyrical Album, Jackie Hill Perry, The Art of Joy. And our next category is Best Production of an Album. So that's the beat, that's the mixing, that's the mastering, all of those musical elements, that make up an album. And so, this is another, like, I feel like the production in our genre has grown a lot over the years. And so this was another area where there was a lot of, there's a lot of diversity in this list, but there's also just some stiff competition. So the nominees are Tadashi, Below Paradise, Kristen Gray, School of Roses, Lecrae, Anomaly, Stephen the Levite, Can I Be Honest, Belief, Red Pills and Black Sugar, Trip Lee with Rise, and Plato and DJ Sean P with Gold Tips. Now, again, this was a tough category. We actually had some internal debate on this in terms of what was the winner, but the one that emerged was Lecrae, Anomaly. And Daniel, man, what made this album so special from a production standpoint?
Well, one thing I want to start off with is that for those who have not heard it, it's definitely it's a very diverse sound of music within one concept. I went to the Anomaly tour, and a few of us others have as well. And one thing I could say, besides it being one of the best concerts I'd kind of ever been to, like, I just had to be honest about that. I was like, man, as a show, as a set, that was one of the best complete sets. But it had to be with the fact that that's what the album was. It took diverse production styles and sounds and all melded it together into one story. From beginning to end, it flowed. And it was more of a flow. It was more flow than just, I can go from one song to one song. But you felt like you were in this one atmosphere that Lecrae was creating. It was just one world. The minute you start Outsiders, You're in this new world, and the replay value of it is, it's for me, it's amazing. Now I'm gonna be real with you. I don't say that about all of the Craze albums. I don't. And for me,
Let me be clear.
Keep it real.
He didn't even know Obama, yo. Let me be
this
clear.
is a dude who got turned on to him at Rebel, and then since has been like, come on, Lecrae, give me something that I can. And then when I heard this, I was like, whoa, yes. Like, this got me excited to listen to it from jump. I mean, we heard nothing, but when I heard the entire album, I just let it play again.
Yeah.
And I let it play again. And it goes into another point of the fact that the songs themselves created a bed for storytelling. I don't know which came first. I know he was definitely in there when they made the beats, when they made the tracks, but the songs breathe with the lyrics. Basically all of them. I mean, there's a few that were kind of, songs that you might say were just tracks, but even they went with the song. All I Need Is You went with what he was saying. You know, the ebb and flow of the highs and lows. Nothing was a more hype track, but you could argue with the same fact. Like when it breaks down right before the chorus, it gets quiet, makes you think about what it's saying. But Good, Bad, Ugly, Broken, Messengers with the world sound, you know, like world music kind of sound. Like
that's a good way to sum that up.
Yeah, and Runners even, like they all created an atmosphere for the lyrics that you were about to hear. Dirty Water, it was just, man, I can't believe how well each of the songs did this. Anomaly too, with like that jazz breakdown at the end of it. I almost don't know why they did it, but I love it. Bass line at the end.
They were stunting. That's what that was.
Yeah, they didn't know where to put it, so they said, no, just put it at the end. Let it ride out.
Yeah.
Let it ride out. And of course, me being producer, engineer, and stuff, the mastering of it was great. You know, one thing that mastering does, for those who don't know, it kind of puts the final polish on an album overall. All songs can be different genres or different sounds, but they bring it to a level where you don't have to adjust anything when you're actually playing it, the CD in your car, or the things don't sound too quiet within the tracks that were sent and stuff like that. I can't say that about every song we hear in the genre.
Yeah.
That's just the truth. But we can't say that. So when you hear it well, it deserves to be celebrated.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, man. I think, one of the things that I always even wrestle with as a DJ is Reach's music in general is always so well mixed and mastered. I got to watch what I play afterwards.
Yeah.
Because most other people aren't able to invest the same way that they are.
I wasn't able to find who mastered it. I wasn't able to find what the production studio mastered it, but I looked at all the credits of the engineers, and these are engineered people in the industry, and everyone doesn't have that the ability to do that. And that's not like saying, oh, they're not putting it in; they just don't have it. The Lord has them where they are. So sometimes it's like you cringe because you're like, ah, man, I wish this sounded better. And when you see what they put out, it's just like, dang, this sounds like top quality everything.
Yeah. So one of the things that you kind of touched on was that Anomaly tour. So it sounds like, and any of the rest of you that went to that tour, it sounds like you were able to kind of appreciate the album more, even kind of seeing it performed and seeing all the, the story, and video stuff that went along with it.
The tour was phenomenal.
Yeah, man.
Like, I got to go to the show in Greensboro. And now I've probably been to at least one show of every tour that Lecrae has done.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have. And typically, I mean, obviously they got a little bit more bread than most people. I know I'm making an understatement, but
understatement.
Typically, but even so, even with them having money, because they capped $1 million in revenue like a few years ago, so they've had bank for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a while ago, like Rebel time period. I think.
Yeah. So, but even then, like, just because you have money doesn't mean you know how to use it. And I feel like they finally got people in their corner that knows how to use the resources they have as far as capital is concerned. And this concert showed it. Like one of the highlights for me, and of course me as the graphic guy, they have tremendous visuals for this whole joint. Like at the end of any set, he does this thing where he acts like he's throwing the mic in the air, and he acts like he swings a bat and hits it, but he hits it towards the screen, and the screen has a graphic where the screen breaks and shows like the digitized components on the screen. And I was just like,
Cool. Yeah.
did that just happen? And then Lecrae flips the script, sneaks out into the crowd in the middle of his set to this disco ball, and actually he sneaks out while DJ Promote is doing this thing. And first of all, Promote kills the joint, and they have this crazy laser show that went with that joint. So he got Promote in this corner. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like me and my man DJ Pt.2 was at that show, and very rarely do I go to the concert and go, oh, like I'm not that type of guy. You know what I'm saying? But when them lasers hit, son, like
Blown away, huh?
Yeah.
I was like, what's happening right now? It's Tron? What the?
Oh, dude, there were 3D lasers. I was like, it wasn't just lights. They came into the crowd, and I was like, whoa, bruh.
I could touch that.
I can touch these lasers.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we can even afford that because that's production. That's show production.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's an added bonus to it. I mean, people can say all they want about Lecrae because he's always on top. Like, hey, step your game up. Do something different. I don't know. You know, I mean, I know he got more resources than most, but
yeah, but he started out with no. But people gotta. He started with no resources though.
Exactly.
Like it's not like he was born with.
Nah,
you know,
silver spoon in the mouth or silver mic in the mouth.
Yeah, he didn't. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's using the resources properly though. Like he's using them to the fullest extent. So I mean, it's one thing to have resources, but it's another thing to be able to use them properly. Like I can honestly say this. Look, I saw the Lecrae show at the House of Blues in Orlando. It's the best show I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like that. He killed. Everything was seamless. It was perfect. The graphics matched what he was doing. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And there was plenty of times in this show where they was just stunning. I ain't even seen the stuff they was doing.
It was just
like, hey, we just gonna do this graphic on the screen just so you know we could do it.
I was like when they had the smoke right behind him and he was trying to be Michael Jackson. Like,
yeah.
I was like, why is this even happening? Like, it doesn't need to be happening, but let's go.
I do have a question though. I want to pose a question for the layperson that isn't into production or doesn't do production like that. When you're listening to an album, what are you looking for mixing and mastering? Because I know that's a part of production. It's not just about beats. But if someone's just listening to the record at home and they're wondering why we're talking about mixing and mastering, how do you hear the difference between that and other records?
I give you a simple, maybe a simple way to put it, and I think Daniel touched on this. But it's, can you really hear all of the elements in the song equally and not necessarily have to be playing around with your EQ or, turn this song up and then the next one comes on, you got to turn that one down because it came in too loud? Like, is it an even sound overall throughout the project? Is it consistent? And can you hear all the elements? Can you hear the ad-libs? Can you hear that snare pop? Can you hear that bass line? Is any of the sound distorted? That's another thing. A lot of cats, they bass lines, man, they be straight distorted. Like it's in a car trunk, and I'm like, yo, like this is in my headphones. Like, why is this sounding muffled like this? So.
A prime example. Of,
oh, don't do it, Jody. Don't do it.
And this is not to throw any shade, but it just goes to show when it's taken to the project. I don't know if y'all even know what I'm going to talk about, but
don't do it, Jody.
So now I can say this because I know this guy.
No, Miss Seeley. No, Miss Seeley.
So if everybody remembers several years ago, K-Drama had a hit out called Air Jordan on him. Everybody was remixing the joint. However, when it got into the hands of Sho Baraka, a lot of people thought he redid the beat over, but no, the beat got mastered. So a lot of the elements that were already in the track got brought out of it. So if you ever want to hear the difference, listen to the original Air Jordan on them, and then listen to Kobe Bryant on them, and you can hear the difference when it comes to mastered and not mastered. I mean, like I said, everybody has to do what they can do with what they have. You know what I'm saying? And some people just don't know any better. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that, you know, K-drama didn't or anything like that. Not saying that. But I'm just saying there's a lot of people who, I mean, I can go down a whole list of people. I mean, but I'm not going to throw nobody on the bus today. But if you guys want to hear an actual sonic example of mastered, not mastered, get the original Air Jordan by K-drama, and then listen to Kobe Bryant on them by Sho Baraka.
I think that's good having a working example like that, because I know a lot of people had no idea. For a long time, I had no idea the difference either, or how it works, or even to listen to that. But if more fans pay attention to that kind of stuff, I think it makes the whole genre better as a whole.
Great mastering makes a song sound like very liquid versus non-mastering, it sounds muddy. You know what I'm saying? Like if you once you get a audible example, you'll know exactly what I mean. Like master stuff sounds so liquid and fluid, and it's just all melding together. It doesn't sound like the person's voice on top of the beat or under the beat is right with it. You know what I'm saying? They're not fighting for attention on the track, and all the instruments are heard together and well. You got stuff being panned to the left, panned to the right, panned to the front, panned to the back. You know, that's if you know doing that. Was it 7.1 Dolby Digital now?
Yeah, 7.1.
Yeah, man. Like
I'm on that 8.5 though. They ain't even got that yet, son.
He on that 2020.
Yeah, they ain't even got that joint yet.
He got that 2020.
Nah, that's good though. That's good. That's good. Listen, our next category, we still got Album of the Year to come. So that's gonna be the final category. But our second to last category is Best Conceptual Album. And so when you start talking about the concept of the album, that's one of my favorite questions to ask an artist when I interview them is, what's the concept of the album? Well, we wanted to highlight people that actually stuck to what the concept of their album was from front to back. Because a lot of people say, hey, this is the concept of my album, and then you've got 3 songs that have nothing to do with the concept. And they may be good songs, but in this particular category, we want to kind of highlight those people that made great albums, but also obviously stuck to the concept of those songs and the concept of the general theme of the album. So the nominees for Best Conceptual Album are Molly Music with Molly Is, Kristen Gray with School of Roses, Swoop with Cinema, Foreknown with Orthoology, Belief with Red Pills and Black Sugar, Jafia Life with The Prophet, and Trip Lee with Rise. It's a tough category because so many of these folks stuck to the concept of their album. But I think it's really clear that when you're just looking at concept and who really stuck to it and who made great music with that and was consistent all the way throughout, the winner was Swoop, Cinema, Aubrey. I know you're a stickler for this kind of stuff, man. What impressed you most about, Swoop, Cinema, and just him kind of riding that concept, man?
Yeah, so this is kind of my corner, and I like how you mentioned it, because what I was going to start with ties into exactly what your intro went with. One of your favorite things is to ask that question. One of my favorite things to do is listen to their answer and then match it to their album and see if that's one of my favorite things to do.
Accountability.
That's accountability. Aubrey out here keeping these boys accountable, man.
I'll write about it too. I love concepts, and the reason why I love concepts is because I love stories. And I feel like when it comes to movies, television, any type of entertainment, storytelling is a beautiful art that's happened since the beginning of man. There's been storytelling, and to me, concept takes that whole thing into account. That's what we're dealing with, the story and how you package it all together. With Swoop, I mean, let's be honest, he's kind of the Michael Jordan of concepts and conceptual lyricism. He's very meticulous, and I think that's one of the most important things you need in delivering a concept and a fluid story all the way throughout his album. So he starts with his title, and he goes all the way to the last track. Everything has a purpose. Every verse, every bar, every hook, every song title, everything has a purpose. And so what you get with Swoop is complex, beautiful storytelling from start to finish. And on Cinema, what he did was he even stepped his game up from Wake Up. Like Wake Up, I thought was beautiful conceptual lyricism. And I even said in my review that it played like a movie. With Cinema, he took that a step further, and I didn't even think that was possible because he layered it with the story. One basic story that you thought was happening, the man and a girl's relationship and how that develops and goes over time. But he layers other stories underneath it and gives it several meanings. And what that does is it brings you back to the album, and every time you hear it, you pull something else away from it. You're getting different things from it. It goes for different moods, different times. He made his album timeless.
Yeah.
You can listen to it all the time, no matter what's going on, because it's layered in such ways. And he's so meticulous and talented. I don't want to forget that. He's so talented that he's telling you a story about a man and a girl. He's telling you another story about a man battling sin inside of himself. Then he's giving you conceptual lyricism in songs. So he's giving you storytelling and conceptual lyricisms in the song that ties with his other two main stories.
And he produced a lot of this record.
He just showed why he's the man is what he did.
Yeah.
And if you want to understand conceptual lyricism and why I love it, listen to this record.
Yeah.
Because it's just layered so beautifully. It's like, this is going to sound really nerdy. It's like reading a good book or watching a perfectly told movie. It's exactly what it's like because it's just layered. And there's so many times where I just stopped and was like, oh, like, okay, like I'm just, like I wanted to tap out because it was so good.
Tap out.
It was so good. And like, look, I don't care. Laugh at me. I don't care. I laugh at myself. Conceptual lyricism to me, it's the art form with inside the art form, and people forget about it all the time because people do exactly what you said. Oh, I'm gonna name my title something really cool and creative, and this is what I want to do with it. And then all their songs are just a collection of songs. Without a concept, the album is just a compilation. Really, it's just a jumble of songs that we thought was hot and we put together on the album.
Now,
Concept to me separates the great from the really good.
Did you think? And I want to ask this to everybody, so I'm gonna give everybody a chance to answer this. But did you think Swoop had the most creative concept of the year? Obviously, it was the best conceptual. It stuck to it. But was that just the concept, not whether or not the person actually stuck to it throughout and how they executed it, but just the concept itself, aside from the music, was that the most creative concept that you saw this year, Aubrey?
I'll reluctantly say no. But it's not, I don't want to make it sound like it's a bad thing because he layered it in a way that made it fresh. He's telling the story that we know. He's telling stories that we've heard. And he's telling it in different ways that we've also heard. But I think it also shows and shines as great in his talent because he layered it in a way and arranged it in a way that it sounded fresh. But as just concept creatively, no.
What was the best concept? Off the top of your head.
In the album or all albums?
Just...
From him?
No, not from him, but just across the genre this year. Like the best, the concept that was the most creative.
For me, I go back to the same album, Matt. Go ahead and start shaking your head now. Belief. I think had the most creative concept to me.
Yeah, no.
I can talk for hours on that album.
I think even when if an album title makes you go.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think you win.
Yeah.
Because unless you just, well, I can't even. I don't know. Like there is no reason for you to have an album title that makes people go, and you can't explain it well. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to know your album concept. And when you look at somebody who like Belief, who I really feel is a music artist, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He's gonna know what he's talking about. I mean, we had a good interview with him on Backstage a few months ago, and you could just hear him, and it's like he really has some stuff on his heart that he wanted to express and something like that, and that's memorable. Red Pills and Black Sugar, like because to be honest, when I first heard it, I mean.
Drugs?
I didn't think. Well, I mean, being the black man that I am, I couldn't get red pills. I didn't get red pills. All right. But I figured Black Sugar was diabetes because we was talking about oh, we got bad sugar. You know what I'm saying? So that was the best I could really surface wise.
You see, he thought that boy made an album about diabetes.
I thought he just told me talking about like just the woes inside the black community or something like that. I thought it was about to be some black power type stuff. You know what I'm saying? But
go ahead.
you know, like I said, I mean, sometimes I'm kind of like this, and then other times I do fall back. You know.
Yeah.
I think those two albums show a good contrast to different types of conceptual lyricism or different types of concepts. Because Swoop gave you a baseline story, and he continued that exact story all the way through. And Believe gave you a story also, but each of his songs built into his story, and each of his songs were there to develop his story, almost like scenes in a movie. And it's two different types of conceptual lyricism, both done phenomenally.
That's good. That's good. Michaela, you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that. I'm trying to think of who else did a good job conceptually.
Well, I will say, and I think I've talked about it a few times. I mean, granted, I think it could have went in a little bit more because it was something very good coming from who they were and their position in life and the genre, and that was He Suddenly with Stereotypes.
That's what I was just about to say.
See, great. See, that's why I
good.
like you, girl. Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah,
good.
definitely. Yeah.
Well, before anybody takes my answer,
Uh-oh.
it was for me, and I'm gonna be real. I don't know, deep. I don't know, but School of Roses was something that made me consistently look back at it.
Yeah.
Not just because of the concept, but literally, that album helped me get through last year.
Mm.
And I was like, I kept asking God, what is happening here? He would bring me through the album, and each song would give me progressive help or whatever, whatever I was going through. Something, the next song would be about what I was dealing with. Blew my mind, but seeing it all together, I was like, oh, I get it. Like, it makes sense if you just look at it, you just go, huh? And then you listen, you go, oh.
Uh-huh.
That's funny. Okay, so the last category. This is the big one.
Drum roll, please.
Album of the year.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Gentlemen.
have
Now,
your
let me-
attention, please.
Let me say this before I even go through the nominees. I'm just gonna keep it 100. It's hard for us to come to a consensus on this. So, and I probably should have said this at the top when we first started this. The reality is, we expect that you're probably going to disagree.
Oh
with
yeah.
this.
Oh yeah.
It's part of it. But this is our choices. And you probably have your own, and that's cool. But
What's done is done.
it is what it is. All right? So here we go. Here's the nominees. Album of the Year 2014 as put together by the Wado Radio team. So here's the nominees. Jackie Hill Perry, The Art of Joy. Belief, Red Pills, Black Sugar. Kristen Gray, School of Roses. Swoop, Cinema. Lecrae, Anomaly. Social Club, Misfits 2. And Shaolin, Lyrical Theology 2, Doxology. And the winner, an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson.
I want to thank everyone for coming out today.
A Christian who raps, or a rapper with Christian.
I promise.
Okay.
So much.
The real winner is Kristen Gray, School of Roses. Jody, why was this the best album of the year, man?
Well, Wade, I'd love to tell you that. Well, I mean, Now I'm pretty sure somebody somewhere is like, oh, this is not even a hip hop album.
Somebody's saying that right now.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Hold on, let me check the chat room real quick and just make sure that somebody didn't already beat us to the punch on that one.
That was prophetic. That was prophetic, brother.
Come on, somebody, won't he do it? Won't he do it? Now to speak to that real quick, I think people who are fans of the show will realize that we do play more than just Christian hip hop songs. So
Absolutely.
if you will notice that this is the best of 2014 albums, it's not necessarily specific to hip hop. Granted, he does have hip hop elements on it, but if you look at the album in its listing, it's actually listed as R&B, not R&B gospel.
Let's be clear.
I know I just threw a little bit of shade at a few people. Sorry, but I'm on my Stephen A. Smith right now. But I personally got to give him props for one, being brave and putting it in the category that his album sounds like, which was R&B.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, he doesn't have publishing like a Reach Records artist. He doesn't have funding like a Reach Records artist. He doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that he doesn't have, and I think he got pulled in. Like he pulled in a lot of people from a lot of different media outlets based solely on his music, and that's what it literally is. Like, it's very rare in 2014 that you just get music. A lot of times you get a compilation of just a whole bunch of producers' tracks and you write a good song to it. No. If you paid attention to the whole leading up to his album, I mean, they
making of videos, right?
Yeah, they had a literal creation process, and Kristen Gray is actually very fortunate, and he's very it's a bit unfair that he has people like Wit. He has people like Swoop in his corner. For those of you who know, Swoop is a certified musician.
Phenomenal on them keys.
Yes, like Swoop plays the B3 Hammond organ. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a chance to research the B3 Hammond organ. All right,
That's
the
church.
B3 Hammond. Yeah, that's like Dan. You know what I'm talking about.
That's
You know what I'm
church.
saying? That's a straight up church instrument. Like,
And
we're
he on that
talking
joint
about
every weekend.
You know what I'm saying? This thing has 3 sets of keys to play at once. You know what I'm saying? So when you got a guy like him who has musical vision like he does, to come with somebody who's a beast vocally and a beast musically like Kristen Gray, what else could you expect but, you know, a masterpiece? You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, and I don't think Kristen Gray is appreciated musically as he should be, because he's widely known in the Christian pop genre. Because a lot of us are into the boom bap, we're into the turn up, but very rarely are we into, like, a lot of people, I don't think, would appreciate, oh, did you hear that chord? You know what I'm saying? They don't hear that.
Brother.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, so yeah. So my quick points. All right. I don't want to get you know, way, because I will do it. All right. So my quick points.
Do it, brother. You do it.
All right. So number one is
You're
just
not long-winded though.
I know I have. I'm sorry. I'm passionate. I don't get the vent like this because I'm kind of in no man's land right now down here in Virginia. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so straight up good music. You know what I'm saying? Just from the use of, I want to say the use of vocoder in the very, very beginning of the album, on the When Was the Last.
Oh God.
You know what I'm saying? See, he knows.
There you caught the Holy Ghost.
You know what I'm saying?
Where that big 3 at? Where that big 3 at?
So he hit him with the vocoder. Like, people don't even know he used a vocoder. They probably just thought he threw auto tunes.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? The joint is very original. He don't sound like anybody else. He don't sound, he's copied. He's his own man. He is Kristen Gray. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, he did get the recognition. I mean, he did what? Didn't he open for like Boys to Men or something like that?
Yeah, he opened for Boys to Men, bro.
Yeah.
At the
Open
Ohio
for Boys
State Fair.
to Men. He did a
At the largest state fair in the country.
There you go. You know what I'm saying?
know that.
People don't know that about Ohio. I mean, come on. See, I should have wore a Buckeyes
Joey
hat,
trying to
man.
stunt on that Ohio
Come on, man.
trying to stunt on that Ohio stuff right
I
now.
think what else? He was getting a lot of love. He was what, from Columbus area?
Columbus, brother. Come
Yeah.
on, 614.
Hey, bro. I mean, but I want to say he got a feature with Essence magazine. I think he did a video.
Essence.
He did stuff. I mean, we're talking about. I mean, and now mind you, this is his debut studio album.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, to put all that stuff together and for it to just be good music, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think good music is really appreciated. Well, obviously now it's 2015, but 2014 coming in this year, a lot of people are used to the press one key and a whole orchestra come out. You know what I'm saying? Versus somebody having a literal creative process. I mean, you can even hear it in the beginning and end of some of the track. Like Wanna, that was like the undercover hit of the album. Even though they pushed Vanish as the main single, everybody was on Wanna. You know what I'm saying?
Wanna was that joint.
It really was. And if you listen in the beginning, you can hear them in the studio trying to create something like, oh yeah, we need to go up there with that. You know what I'm saying? And when you can hear a creative process, that's when you know art is being made. And I know he caused some controversy because everybody couldn't hear Jesus through everything. But if you read your Bible,
Read your Bible.
if you open up your Bible and open up them pages, you hear the words sprinkle all through there. We're talking about love, people.
Yes, sir.
Last time I checked, my Bible says that God is love. It is not proudful, nor does it boast.
All right.
But I gotta boast on this album because the School of Roses. I said the School of Roses.
That's all right. That's all right, Doc.
Is like that.
Amen.
And that's the way it is.
Yes.
You see what I did there?
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry.
Yo, Jody, you are crazy, bro.
I'm a church boy, y'all.
You crazy.
My beard might not say it, but I'm a church boy.
Oh my goodness. Oh man. I'm gonna say this. I saw him perform this album a lot this year. I saw him in New York solo before the album came out. I saw him in Columbus about a month and a half before it came out. I didn't go to the BET show. I actually didn't go to that one.
BET Music Matters. That's another thing he got to do.
Yeah, he did the BET Music Matters. I feel like one of the things that I experienced when I went to one of his shows is, even though he's a big part of this Christian rap community, you know what I'm saying? He's a huge part of it. You know, the fan base that he brought in, the people that were coming to these shows, that were buying tickets, were not your typical Christian rap fans. I saw more women at his concerts than any other Christian rap anything that I've ever been to in my life. And the first time I went, me and my wife went, I was like, what? I was like, this dude just brought a whole new audience to the community. You know what I'm saying? But that's, that was kind of the power of that album. And then I think to your other point, Jody, and this is why charting is important. He got so many opportunities that got opened up to him off the strength of his music, but because the people, those of you watching, people like yourself, went out and bought this album, people noticed it on the charts. And so he had radio interviews open up on secular radio stations, the Boys to Men opportunity. Like, the crazy thing is, he works for the state fair. That's his day job. I hope he doesn't mind me telling this. He works for the state fair. His boss saw him in Billboard magazine, an article, and was like, yo, like, you're really serious, right?
Why anybody tell me?
Right.
Why anybody tell me?
So even before he heard the album, just the credibility of having that chart situation, that opened that huge door for him to open in front of Boys to Men and smash the show. Like, this dude did Legacy Conference Friday night, then Saturday he was opening for Boys to Men at the Ohio State Fair. That's a heck of a weekend right there.
Yeah.
So Kayla.
Yeah. It's just a dope project. And I think the fact that it was placed in the R&B category and it did so well, and also the fact that it wasn't explicitly Christian. That might be the complaint for a lot of people, but you still got the gospel within it. He still brought it, with, I
Totally.
believe it was it Arena Part 2? Is that what it? I think that's what it
Yep.
was.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was just like you worshiping with that joint, and just even I think when artists accompany video explanations to their albums, I think it helps a lot with just even the thought process, the creative process, and just hearing his thought process for some of the certain songs that he did. It just helped understanding it better and understanding that you might not hear explicitly gospel, but you can still hear the gospel within it. And I think that's what made it a real good project. And also the fact that your project can come out earlier in the year and it still hold all the way until the end, or
Mm.
even till now, that means it has sustainability and playback value, and it means it left a mark within the Christian hip hop or Christian community. So that's what makes it a good album or the album of the year.
Yeah, that was released
Yo,
first
Mac,
quarter, I think.
yeah, it was May. It came out in May.
Man, okay, second
It
quarter.
came out in May. There was a bunch of albums that came out around then, like Fizzle,
Yep.
Social
Right.
Club, Bizzle
Good.
Well Wishes. We didn't mention that album. That was a dope album this year. But it was like this
And
this
then
is
he made it through the summer too.
what'd you say?
Then he made it through the summer too, because stuff just
Right,
kept coming out after that. And he
right.
made it all the way through that.
Juan, I'm telling you, Juana carried him through the rest of this year, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me.
yeah. I think this is this is one of the things that I think we just have to do better of in our community is you got to continue the promotion of your album.
Right.
So it's like you have your initial run, and maybe you're putting videos out before the album. Like we're at that point now where it's like you expect people to have
Right.
music videos and singles and a rollout before the album. But now I think when you have that ability to tour and release another music video after the album and do some other stuff to continue to promote it and just build that fan base and that brand, I think that helps artists tremendously, man. Like that's really, I think at this point, what separates the really, 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 really successful artists from, the rest of the pack in a lot of cases. So,
Yeah.
What did it for me on this album is cause me and Mac talked about this last time we was on the call, and one of the reasons why I kind of conceded, because I was really fighting for belief. One of the reasons why I kind of conceded is because what he does, he makes a type of music that's easy to listen to, and he makes it to a way where you can flow through a whole album, and it doesn't feel like you've listened to a whole album. And that's one thing that I kind of miss, and I've kind of missed since listening to CHH almost exclusively, is that doesn't happen very often. Someone who can hold your attention and make a style of music that flows consistently from beginning to end. He makes it very easy to listen to. It's easy to come back to. You want to come back to it. You want to hear stuff again, but you're eager to hear what comes next. Like it speaks to his talent that he makes such a deep album with so much depth, but at face value, you can just sit and listen to it all day, no matter what you're doing.
that's good, bro. Yeah, that album has probably been like, obviously I don't really mess with a CD changer anymore, but that's been the album I've been playing the longest, like just straight through. That and Molly Music. Can't sleep on the Molly album either, but yeah.
Those those two were the ones that I personally believe do the right balance of, I guess, quote, world issues that we live in and a Christian perspective.
Yeah.
Molly did it well, and I think Christian just did it even better. Where it's like, yes, we're humans. We live in this world. We deal with issues. How do we first confront them? Like, say, yes, we do have these issues, but from a perspective of I am still a follower of Christ. I still need to confront what I'm dealing with. Like, these are still real things. But eventually I will get to the Arena Part 2. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this is probably one of the only albums I said that did it 100% spot on. Through the dart, hit the middle, all that stuff.
Yeah. And I think also even just hitting on that, highlighting those things, like, yes, I'm a sinner. I struggle with these things. And this is human human nature. This is something that we need to address and be transparent about. And it's not necessarily a factor of glorifying it, but I'm trying to be real with you and let you know that I want to take my ring off, but kind of deal. And I think that's important. It's not a glorifying sin type of deal, but it's being transparent.
It's good. It's good. Hey, I want to shout everybody out that has been watching this entire time. And really just rocking with us and is enjoying this conversation. We definitely appreciate your support. I want you to keep in mind, make sure you tune into the radio show this weekend. We're going to have Derek Minor on talking about his new project, Empire. We got a ton of new content up at the site right now, wadoradio.com. We got some new videos we're releasing. This has been kind of a quiet period for albums coming out, but we got some really dope blogs up, and as soon as the album season kind of picks back up at the end of the month, we'll have a bunch of reviews coming as well. So again, thank you for your support, thank you for your time. Obviously, if you got some comments, you got some thoughts on the winners tonight, we love to hear your opinion, and we'll check y'all next time. I'm sure we'll probably be doing some more Google Hangouts in the near future. So stay posted to wadoradio.com. You get all the details. Grace and peace.